right, welcome back. We are here to talk about why we take notes on our readings for class. And actually, this applies to every class, even if it's not part of the assignment. And this is all part of our big push for reading comprehension strategies in your classes this semester. To review, we've definitely talked about reading strategies so far this semester. You watched a video earlier on this. And remember that reading strategies help us understand what we're reading better. And in order to do anything else, such as analyzing or anything else, we need to first totally comprehend what we're reading. And that means, potentially, taking notes, which are essentially an organized approach to reading comprehension. But that could also mean any number of other reading strategies as well. Why are notes a thing that I've asked you to do so much and other teachers have too? Because they're a thing that keeps you organized when you're reading for school. Because remember, reading for school is not the same as reading for fun. When you read for school, you're usually reading to be challenged or to learn something or to do any number of activities that a teacher might ask you to do. And the point is that it's not the same as reading for entertainment. So, you shouldn't go into a school reading expecting to be entertained, because chances are it might not be entertaining. You might not be the biggest fan of algebra, but there is reading you're going to have to do in your algebra book that you have to know. Same thing for a biology book or an earth science book or even a book in English class that you might not enjoy as much. You know you have to do it because you want to pass the class. So what can we do? And notes are one of the things that we can do. We've actually used a bunch of different approaches in our class this semester so far even. And the whole point of all of them is simply to organize our ideas in some way that it's going to help us succeed on the assignment. So for example, we did this one, which had a column for unfamiliar words, a space at the bottom for plot summary, and a large space in the middle to write down any other notes or observations or things that were important. And in case of the short story assignment, it was to write down things you think might be related to the theme. We also used this for mouse. Had a spot to summarize up at the top, a place to define unfamiliar words and concepts, a place to describe the setting and the characters, and to do the class stems. And the purpose of all that was to understand the story's plot completely so that we could do any kind of analysis. Some of you who are sophomores have had a reading journal for Animal Farm, kind of like this one right here. There is a space to define words that the teacher gave you, or even ones you don't know. And then there is space for 2 quotes that you feel are important and explaining why it's important. These are all different types of reading journal or reading notes or whatever you want to call them that help you organize the ideas for your class and for whatever you're reading. All those are very different formats, but the idea is that no matter what, they assist reading strategies and comprehension. The important thing is that whatever notes you're taking for your nonfiction reading assignment in English Lab this semester, you are taking notes on something that's going to help you succeed on this particular assignment. So the first thing you want to do is know what you have to accomplish with this story, which is why you are encouraged to go through the sequence of questions and activities you need to complete even after the story, because you can always record information that helps you use stuff from the story later on to do a better job. And so the idea is to know why you're reading, is to give yourself a purpose, as you can see at the top of the slide there. So one of the things that can help you is what I just said, to figure out what it is the assignment wants you to do. Do you need to just know facts for a test that you can memorize? Do you need to just be able to summarize the important information? Do you need to be able to relate it to another reading? Do you need to be able to use this as a source in an essay? Or a bunch of the options there altogether. Whatever it is, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with it first. Second, you want to decide the reading strategies that help you do that. In other words, if you are reading for analyzing a story's theme or character development, that means you're going to pay attention to certain parts of the story and probably take notes on it. For example, when you're figuring out the theme, you want to follow the conflict and usually the figurative language in a story as well. If you combine the two, chances are you'll figure out at least something related to the theme. If you are just trying to figure out important information because you think a teacher's going to ask for it on a test, then you would go through and highlight or write down or something important passages or quotes or pieces of information that you feel like you need to know. Are there things you don't know? Then you might ask questions. All these things are reading strategies that will help you succeed on your notes and therefore on your reading assignment. Finally, now that you sort of have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish with your reading and your reading notes, figure out a way to organize what you're writing down. If you have 3 or 4 categories of things that you're looking for, like words you don't know, important quotes, and things related to the plot of the story, then you might organize your paper in a way where you have different sections for each of those things. Whatever works for you is the important thing because it's for your information. Remember, this isn't always an assignment from a teacher. Sometimes you just have to understand, and reading notes is one of those things that can help you. So, now that you're going to be working on your project again some more, what you want to do is obviously use the steps laid out in this video here to figure out what the assignment is asking you. So go back through the document I gave you to remember the reading strategies that have helped you in the past, and also figure out some that will help you on this assignment, and then to organize your notes in a way that helps you accomplish whatever it is the assignment wants. So for example, if I were doing this project, instead of assigning it and grading yours, I might copy my article onto a Google document and then come up with different colors for different things I'm going to highlight in there. For example, I could use yellow to highlight important things related to the central idea, since that's the main thing we're looking for. I could use blue and the notes feature on there to write notes on things I had to look up. I could use a green one to record potential answers to questions on the assignment. For example, ones about the title or details about specific things that the questions might ask for on the assignment. The idea is that it's organized for me and it works for me, and that's what you want to do for you. So take a minute now that you've watched this for the warm-up and think about what it is you can do to organize your notes. You might have to go back into your reading a little bit and catch yourself up, but the idea is that you come out the other side with much better understanding of what you're reading, and that is the most important thing. So thank you, and I hope this is useful to you, and good luck on your project. Thanks.